been 5 years. I'm sad and I'm pissed off at myself for making a decision that wasn't smart. So it was 5 years ago today that I saw my mom alive for the last time. My mom died almost 5 years ago now, and the kids and I had gone down for Christmas to visit my mom and dad. My brother was there, my sister-in-law was there, and that was the last time I saw my mom alive. Um, Obviously, that's not a great a great memory for me insofar as that. There's a couple things I wish I'd said, obviously, because once time has passed, you realize, boy, I wish I'd said those things. But there are a few things that pop to my mind this time every year when I see those pictures that I took of that trip to visit my mom and dad that I want to share because I think they're universal and they're important. The first one is take a lot of pictures. I didn't take a lot of pictures that trip. I didn't take a lot of pictures because I tend to take a lot of pictures anyway, and my mom and dad found it a little bit hard on the head sometimes. My brother and his wife find it a little hard on the head. The kids found it hard on the head. Everybody was finding it kind of hard on the head. And I took fewer pictures consciously. And I wish I hadn't done that. You don't know when the last time you're going to see somebody is. You just don't know when the last time you might see them is. And it turned out that was the last time I saw my mom, and it was one of the times that I took fewer pictures, and that sucks. It really sucks. It disappoints me. It frustrates me. It makes me feel bad about myself, and it makes me feel overly frustrated that I got in my own head and overthought something that I should have just said, screw it. I'm going to do what I normally do, and then I would have, 20 pictures of my mom, and instead I have two. I didn't even take any of her with the kids, and it's disappointing, and that's something that nowadays you have the ability to take pictures. And what I want to make sure people understand, and you guys all understand here, is that at no time in history have we had the ability to take pictures and document things that are happening in our lives. I know I tend to over document a lot of things, but boy, if you have it, there may come a day that you really are happy that you have those. Or conversely, you don't want to be like me, where you really wish you had something you don't have anymore. So, number one thing that this time of year and that 5 year window makes me think about is take more pictures, because you know what, they spark the memory, they take you back to where you were. That's why Facebook has Facebook memories. There's the things like Time Hop, the app Time Hop. It gives you back that time. And I'll tell you, you don't want to be sitting there like me wishing you hadn't taken it. It's not a fun place to be. The second thing that I think that my mom tried to teach me in my life that I've kind of learned is that there's a lot of really good people out there, and everybody can be your friend. Some of the best qualities about me come from my parents. My worst qualities are probably my own, but my best qualities from my parents. My dad's super smart and interesting to talk to, and well-read, and likes to challenge himself. And I have maybe a little tiny bit of that. And my mom was very bright and super charismatic and could talk to anybody. And I have a little tiny bit of what my mom had. But my mom, she never met anybody that she wasn't ready to be friends with. From cashiers at the store to random people she walked past to everybody. If you met my mom, she was friends with you. And the thing I think that my mom was trying to show me in life was that there's a ton of interesting people out there. And if you say, I have my group, I'm like Jerry Seinfeld, I have enough friends, you're going to be very disappointed, because you're going to miss a lot of the things that you could have in life, because there's so many interesting people out there. And that's something that my mom, I think, did a lot, and I try to do myself, is to, get to know people, because there's a lot of really cool people that will end up being your friends that you don't realize are going to be your friends if you don't give them a chance. And that's one of the things that my mom taught me. And the third thing that my mom taught me, the third thing I want to talk about is the don't be a victim. And I think nowadays this speaks even more to people than it ever has. I think I know some people out there are probably going to be pissed off by this, and they'll be like, "How dare you say that, Devin?" Look, here's the thing. My mom used to say to us as kids all the time, "You can choose to be a victim, or you can choose not to be a victim. It's up to you. That's your choice." In life, what happens to you isn't your fault. That's what my mom was trying to teach us. What happens is not your fault, but how you handle it, that's your responsibility. So if something shitty happens to me, it's not the shitty thing is not my fault. You know, if somebody punches me in the face, that's not my fault. Well, maybe it is, I guess, but you know what I mean? If something bad happens, it's not your fault that it happens, but it's your responsibility to handle that. And you can sit around and be a victim and sulk and moan and whine and complain and say, "Oh, it's so sad and it's so hard." You know what? But how much good does that do for you? Is it doing anything for you? In the wise words of Dr. Phil, how's that working for you? My mom had cancer 4 times. 4 times she had cancer. And she didn't die of cancer, by the way. She died of a heart attack. So she had cancer 4 times in her life. She could never run the entire time I knew her. She could never run because she'd had skin cancer on her leg. And when they took the lymph nodes out of her leg to save her life, her leg ballooned up to 3 times the size, and it never really went back down. She had to have surgery when I was a teenager just so she could bend her knee. It wore out her hip. She had to have her hip replaced because of it, and she never bitched about it once. She never sat around and said, "Oh, poor me." She just dealt with it, and she moved on. And I understand my mom is tougher than a lot of people. She's tougher than I am. But there's something to be said for not being a victim and just sticking to things. That's the other thing that my mom would say. She'd just say, "Devin, you need more stick-to-itness." And by stick-to-it, she means do the shit that's hard again and again and again. It doesn't matter. You don't give up. We don't give up. And I say that to my kids. We don't give up on things. We see it out. We go through with it. I think it's super important, especially nowadays. Everybody's a victim from something. Everybody's insulted. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody's a victim somehow, some way. Everybody's riled up about, I'm, victimized and my feelings are hurt. Look, your feelings get hurt sometimes. It's life. But do you want to be the victim for that, or do you want to deal with that in a more positive light? That's what my mom was saying, and I think it's a super important thing to think about because it changes your mindset on life. It just does. If you say, "I'm not a victim for that, I will move forward and I will conquer whatever comes in front of me, and if something bad happens, I will deal with it and continue," that is where true strength and stick-to-itness and endurance comes from. That's where it comes from. And I can't say that I'm perfect at this. I'm not. I am not perfect at this by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not saying that I know what I'm talking about. But my mom, she was a really smart woman, and she knew what she was talking about. She was smarter than me. She's more charismatic than me. She just understood life better than I did. And better than I do right now. And I'm trying, and I don't mean to get teared up, but I try. I try really hard to learn from the lessons she tried to teach me. That's what I try to do. And that's why I'm making this video. So those of you who are like, "How dare you say, not to be a victim," you know what? Grow the hell up. I think that my mom, that's a very good, don't be a victim is a very good life lesson. Stick-to-itness is a very good life lesson. Meeting people and being open to them being really cool and friends with you and somebody that you can, connect with, that's a great life lesson too. Those are the things. And take pictures. For the love of God, take pictures. You will be sorry if you don't take pictures of your loved ones. The things you do in your life, if you don't have pictures of those, or videos nowadays, of those things, we all are carrying. I'm shooting this right here on a phone. You have it in your pocket. You can do that. Don't be in the spot that I am in right now. It's been 5 years. I'm sad and I'm pissed off at myself for making a decision that wasn't smart. That's something I should have been better at. And you know what? My mom would have wanted better for me out of that. Just because people are frustrated that you're taking pictures, you know what? You're doing the right thing. You're doing what's right for you. You're doing what's right for your family. You got to do it. Take pictures, guys. Please take pictures. You will be happy if you did. And again, I don't mean to upset anybody with this video. This video is not. If it spoke to you, great, and I hope it did. If it didn't speak to you and you're like, that guy's an idiot, then you know what? That happens too. It's part of life. We're never going to be perfect. I hope everybody has an amazing day. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Don't forget to be awesome.